This is a 16 News Now update.
Welcome to the 16 News Now update. I'm Melissa Stevens.
And I'm George Mallet. First Alert meteorologist Matt Engelbrecht will have our forecast in a moment. But first, let's get a check of today's top stories.
We begin with a breaking news update to a story we brought you yesterday involving a tractor trailer that crashed into a Texas roadhouse in Warsaw. The
driver of that semi has died. According to our reporting partners at the Warsaw Times-Union, the crash happened just before 3 o'clock on West 300 North, just off State Road 15.
Now, police believe the driver, now identified as 77-year-old Lloyd Howard from Culver, suffered a medical episode before driving off the road and crashing into the restaurant. No one inside the restaurant was injured. In Kosciuszko County, officials are investigating a fatal crash in the 11,000 block of North State Road 19 in Jefferson Township.
The crash involved a motor vehicle and a bicyclist. When emergency personnel arrived on scene just before 8 o'clock, they encountered the driver of a 2004 Chevy Blazer and a bicyclist identified as Napanee resident Aaron Miller. Both were traveling northbound on State Road 19 when the Chevy struck the rear of the bicycle.
Miller was pronounced dead on scene from injuries sustained in the crash, while the driver of the Chevy, who was identified as Warsaw resident Jonathan Davis, unharmed. Kosciuszko County's FACT team is handling the investigation. Well, turning to weather for the third day in a row, we are just blessed with some picture-perfect weather outside.
Absolutely. Joining us now is First Alert Chief Meteorologist Matt Engelbrecht. Matt?
Yeah, great looking weekend forecast. So you said 3, we'll tack on at least 2 more, give us the total about 5 by the time we head into Sunday. Now Monday and Tuesday of next week, the 70s are going to turn back into the mid to low 80s with that humidity starting to climb through next week. But again, magical phrase here is next week. For tomorrow, your Saturday, a high around 74 degrees northwest wind, 10 to 15 miles per hour. That goes with a cool morning as well. Now, as we have felt today, a little breezy at times, so about 10 to 15. That 74 could actually feel more like the upper 60s at times. A cool morning, though, should lead to a beautiful afternoon, both on Saturday and on Sunday. Slightly warmer temperatures, but really, what you feel on Saturday is what we're going to feel on Sunday as well. A temperature trend rest of the night tonight, 72 degrees by 6 p.m., 71 degrees by 8 o'clock, mid-60s around midnight tonight with mostly clear skies. Chance of rain in the forecast, well, it's none this weekend. Possibility of getting a few light showers in here next week. We'll talk more about that coming up after the Olympics.
Matt, thanks. Developing now out of Fort Wayne, a new video capturing the unsettling moments in which a woman was pulled from a car, thrown to the ground, and punched by a police officer before being handcuffed and arrested.
That is my little sister that y'all did that to. That is crazy.
Court documents indicate the woman had a warrant for her arrest stemming from a misdemeanor traffic case. The documents indicate 2 officers began giving verbal commands for her to get out of the car. Officers say she was uncooperative, and that's when they pulled her out. An officer said she used her body weight to lift him off the ground. The officers said they were eventually able to detain her using, quote, several tactics.
Developing now, Chicago police are working to determine how a woman died at O'Hare International Airport. First responders were called to the airport yesterday after a report of someone trapped in a machine at Terminal 5. Emergency responders found a female stuck and entangled in the conveyor belt system used to transport baggage. She was unresponsive and pronounced dead on the scene. Investigators haven't revealed how the woman was able to gain access to the restricted area or whether or not she was a passenger. They're also working on notifying her next of kin before revealing her identity. Well, here at home, Benton Harbor High School played host as State Representative Joey Andrews presented a new automated external defibrillator this morning. Now, a recently signed legislation ensures that schools maintain AEDs and make them accessible within 1 to 3 minutes in case of a cardiac emergency. And because of this new law, the NFL donated 50 of these machines for Michigan legislators to distribute throughout schools in the districts. This AED is specifically for Benton Harbor High's athletics department.
So in recent times, as you've seen so many times over and over again, we've had athletes that will have incidents on the field that need immediate attention. And these are truly a lifesaver. It's the difference between life and death. So by having those accessible readily could potentially save a student's life.
Benton Harbor School Superintendent Kelvin Butts, that is, says that this donation is a testament to the continued partnership between the district and the state, keeping the safety of the students in the forefront.
I want to update you on a traffic issue here in South Bend. Paving crews are working on Angela Boulevard at the southern edge of the Notre Dame campus this week. The road remains open, but the lanes are narrowed and moving slower.
The employees getting to work on time?
Some are having some difficulties just depending on the route, so we have to take a lot of extra different directions. So it just depends on which roads are blocked or not.
Can you get around it or avoid it?
It is possible to get around and avoid it, but it just takes a longer route. But yeah.
And are you typically late to work or what?
No, I'm pretty on time, but usually it requires you to just leave a little bit earlier.
And the paving is expected to wrap up on Wednesday of next week.
Happening today, the 1905 wood-sided caboose, which can be seen near the Main Street entrance of the National New York Central Railroad Museum in Elkhart, no longer at that location. Yeah, that's because earlier this morning, it was moved to the rolling stockyard next to the Conrail caboose. The reason for this was because the new location will enable the museum to better display and highlight the oldest piece of rolling stock on the building's grounds.
It also then gives us the avenue to put a sheltered building covered over the top, so that when we do the cosmetic restoration, we want to do new siding and paint. It'll be protected, and then we can piggyback from there in succeeding years, adding to that awning all the way down the track and bring more cars up every couple years for restoration and keep them protected.
Crane Industries from Granger began moving the caboose around 7:30 this morning. The job was estimated and completed in 4 hours. Hey, Matt.
Hey guys, there's a look at the radar. Don't expect much in the way of significant weather to move through this weekend or even most of next week. A different story, one thing that we've been first alerting you to going back the last almost week and a half is of course that tropical system. Debbie continues to churn. Impressive how well this system has held its structure even though it has been over land for an extended period of time. That is bringing torrential downpours back up here towards New York and also the Northeast. And it's not just rain, once again dealing with severe weather as well. You see the yellow polygon there is a severe thunderstorm warning. All the green has to do with significant rainfall, flash flooding in those locations. Now, as we look for the next couple of days here, it's a gradual warm up, mid to low 70s for your Saturday afternoon, 76 degrees on Sunday, and then the lower 80s Monday and Tuesday. The icon, not going to change all that much. Now, it is going to be a bit of a cool night Saturday into Sunday morning. And not necessarily a cold one, but as we march through the weekend and next week, temperatures in the afternoon will start to get warmer. Morning temperatures will get a little bit warmer, and then that humidity will start to kick in by next Thursday and Friday. You'll see that in your first alert 10-day forecast. As for future track, this is Saturday at 7 o'clock in the morning. Temperatures in the mid 50s, so if you have garage sales or anything else going on, farmers market, bit on the cool side, but staying away from the upper 40s. Friday morning, we're more in the 60s, so this may be a bit of a shock to the system to be about 10 degrees cooler than that in the 50s. Beautiful afternoon, upper 60s, lower 70s by 1 o'clock with a few clouds coming in from the northwest, and that's one of the reasons why this cooler, drier air is anchored over Michiana. It's that northwest flow, not only off the lake, but also back up parts of Wisconsin and into Canada. So Saturday at 8 o'clock, the sun starts to set. Mostly clear skies. Keep in mind a meteor shower, Perseid meteor shower is going to peak late Saturday night, early Sunday morning. Keep a lookout for that and expect mostly clear skies into our Sunday morning with temperatures slightly warmer in the mid to upper 50s. There's a 58 in Warsaw, 60 in Goshen, 58 degrees in Rochester, and then by the afternoon, mostly clear skies. And again, temperatures a few degrees warmer on Sunday than what we have on Saturday, but really not going to be tell a big difference between the two, especially with that lower humidity. In that first alert 10-day forecast, 74 degrees on Saturday, 76 on Sunday, mid-50s Saturday and into Sunday night. By the time we hit Tuesday and Wednesday of next week, we'll get back into the mid-80s, which is about average for this time of year. We'll be eyeing the chance for some showers, maybe a rumble of thunder by the end of next week. Guys?
Matt, thanks. Josh and Lauren will have more news, and Matt will update your first alert forecast coming up on 16 News Now at 6.
And George and I will be back at 11 tonight. Join us then.